Hey Robert, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, man. You can call me Bobby if you want.
Sure, Bobby it is.
I grew up in Kentucky, so
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for the 24 hour push from yesterday to today. I appreciate it.
no worries at all, man. Especially under the circumstances. It's not even a big ask.
Yeah, cool, thanks. Um, I stepped on this when I was going through some props. So since we have a director in the house, I figured why not?
Right on. You know,
Right?
I've had a couple of movies now. My first movie, Vengeance Turns, but then even little parts of Spread where we didn't have the slate,
Oh
and
yeah.
you can't let anything stop you. You know what I mean? Once the
Yeah.
train is started, once it's left the station, man, you got to get the shot. It doesn't matter. Little things like a slate, they're necessary. But if you don't have it, you can't use it as an excuse not to shoot, you know?
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's to be honest, that's the essence of some of the commercials on Masterclass. It's like
Yeah.
nothing's stopping you from acting, directing,
Yep.
writing, anything.
My my
Yeah.
very first like little short films and stuff I filmed on a little Sony HD handheld, and I literally used note cards.
Oh yeah.
I would pop the note card. I would hold it up in front of the camera to let it know where it was, and then I would pop it so that I'd have like a sound place.
Yeah, for editing and
Yeah.
sound. Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, you do what you got to, and then that kind of was a springboard for going forward, you know. So
Right, right. I hear you. Well, let's see, writer, director, producer, actor,
actor, editor,
editor. Yeah. Oh, I
yeah.
left that off, even though I knew it.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's some of those things I never meant to be, man. Some of them I never wanted to be,
yeah.
but it turns out that again, you do what you got to do, you know, to get something across the finish line. And especially like when you go back as far as Vengeance Turns, shooting that and then editing during COVID, I just basically sat every day and watched videos on how to edit, and then I would watch stuff that I liked, you know.
Yeah.
There was a thing on HBO at the time, The Flight Attendant with Kaylee Cuoco,
Yeah, I know that.
and they would do all these split screens, and I had been thinking about doing that, and I was nervous about doing it in
Mhm.
Vengeance Turns, and then all of a sudden I see them doing it. I'm like, okay, let's study this. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I can do that. And so
Yeah.
I taught myself how to do that. I made special effects. I made all the muzzle flashes, you know. So yeah, I'm definitely if I'm not talented, I'm tenacious.
Yeah. And if it was physical, you'd be ambidextrous for sure, right?
And I am. I'm a little ambidextrous. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we start out by talking about your background?
Sure, please. Anything you like, man.
Yeah, I was asking, why don't we start out with, well, actually, yeah, what was your early interest in filmmaking? And like, what were some of the earliest things that actually got you work in the business?
Okay. So two different kind of questions there.
Yeah,
Like probably the earliest thing that ever connected me to the idea of filmmaking was I'm kind of a nerd, in case you can't already tell, and you
me too.
will
Me too.
before this is over. Yeah. And but when I was a kid, we had to do a report like in like sixth grade, and I did it on the stop motion animation for the original King Kong.
Nice.
And I was blown away because as I was doing my research, I found out there's places where you can see the thumbprint on Kong,
Wow.
stuff like that. So I had to go back and rewatch this movie that I already loved in order to start thinking about it in a technical way at the
Yeah.
age of 12. And so then around that same time, I remember watching the movie The Outlaw of Josie Wales with my dad, and like on HBO, something like that. It's something I one other movie I was probably exposed to way too early, you know. But there's a particular scene in that movie where when Josie Wales sit up on a horse, that dog comes up and he spits on the dog. And this is gonna sound weird or creepy, I don't know. But when I was a kid and I saw him spit on that dog, I was already a writer. I had written my first story at the age of 7. But when I saw that happen, I started thinking about screenwriting. And I went, wait a minute. Somebody somewhere wrote a story that said guy spits on dog.
Yeah.
Then somebody in Hollywood decided we're going to make a movie about that, and we're going to get a dog, we're going to get a guy, and we're going to spit on the dog. So I started thinking how all of the logistics
Yeah.
and everything that actually went into it, and the desire and the passion that had to be there
Mm.
on the part of everybody involved, including the animal trainer, including the dog itself, you
Yeah.
know, and it lit a fire in me that really never went away. But again, I grew up in Kentucky, and so it was I grew up with a very blue collar kind of background where uh, you make money. In a lot of my family, it was like factories or whatever, punch a clock.
Yeah.
You got to be something you can measure and you can rely on. And the idea of being an artist is like the same as telling them that you're going to sprout wings and grow to the moon. You can fly to the moon, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I was in college, I went ahead and majored in English creative writing. Still, we increased the amount of writing and stuff that I was doing. I had a band after college called the Wild Love Rebellion.
Nice.
There's an album out there and everything. And in fact, three of the songs are in Spread. Uh, Again, you do what you got to do. And I started like rummaging through my own stuff that I can use royalty free. And, but when my blue collar like background never really gave up, never went away. Even when I made the commitment to move to California at the age of 30 and get closer to Hollywood, that blue collar background kicked in, and I went out and got a good job, a high paying job in sales, and I kept getting promoted. And one day I looked down, and it was like almost 10 years had gone by, and I was no closer to Hollywood, but I was making a lot of money, and I wasn't feeling fulfilled.
Hmm.
And so on my birthday, it seems to be a tradition. I make big decisions on my birthday, and especially on the decades. And this is on the 40. I said, "Man, you're halfway through this ride, and if you want to do this, you better make the commitment right now."
Yeah.
And that was about 15 years ago. And so I made that commitment at that point that I would start doing everything I could, learning everything I could. As far as how did I get into it, how did I make any kind of break into the business at all? Once I decided that I really was going to do it, I wanted to observe it on a large scale. And my blue collar background kicks in, so I want to get paid while I do it. And so I started doing background work. And I did some background work really almost like as my own little mini film school. And I would talk to producers, directors, other actors, and things like that while I was there, letting them know what I was doing.
Hmm.
And then start connecting with people, making a network, and kind of launching from there. And when I was in San Diego in 2016, I wrote a script called The End of Fun. And I let my roommate read it at the time. And she is laughing at all the right places, really likes it. She's like, "Can we let a couple other people read it?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And it wasn't in great form or anything, but it was a script. And all
Right.
these people read it, all these people loved it. Everybody kept saying, "You should do this Kickstarter thing. You should do this and see if you can get the money." I did it, and it worked.
Yeah.
I filmed the whole movie, but long story, we can talk about some other time because it'll take up too much time in this interview. Uh, there's really legit reasons why it can never be released, and so it's all in the can. I quit on it during post-production, but I didn't give up on filmmaking, and the idea for Vengeance Turns had already come into my head. So I started pursuing that with a relentless passion, and that's what my podcast is about right now, is
Right.
about the whole road to making Vengeance Turns. And during Vengeance Turns, I was working with one of my friends who is an independent comic book artist named Kurt Belcher. He was doing a lot of the concept art and stuff for me.
Yeah.
Once Vengeance Turns was over, he and I started talking, and he asked me why I'd never filmed a slasher movie. And he said, "Isn't that kind of the thing?" He was like,
Yeah.
"Don't up and coming directors like make slasher movies, and that's kind of how they put their stamp on the place." And I was like, "Yeah, but I never wanted to do that." He said, "Why not?" And I said, it's tired, and I grew out of slashers when I was like 17." He said, "So what you're saying is you have no good ideas?" And I said, "No, I'm not saying that." I said, "I do have one really, really good idea, but it would be like with Scream, it would be multiple killers, and I would want to have some kind of hills have eyes aspect to it. I would want it to be something that was unexpected for the audience." And I started just kind of rattling stuff off to him. And after a few minutes, he goes, "Hey, hold on." And he holds up a pad. And he'd been taking notes. He goes, we got the foundation right here. He goes, I've never written a screenplay before. Will you help me and we'll write this together? And I said, sure. And Spread was born.
Very cool. Very cool.
So that was a really long and winding answer, right, man?
That's okay. Long is good. I prefer it to yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've done some interviews too. You're like, oh, come on, man. Please don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you a closed-ended question, so how are you answering it with a yes or no?
Yeah. It's okay. I went to school for journalism,
Hmm.
even though my love has always been film. And like
Oh,
you,
right on.
I worked my entire life, and now I'm at the point where my kids are in their 20s.
Right
And I
on.
said, you know what, the easiest way I can get involved is start
Hmm.
doing a podcast and interviewing people, and because I
Yeah.
know that's just what I know. And
Yeah,
so
it's the language you already know, and it's
yeah,
a great way to enter into that world. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
And then I've started writing some things and um, working on some production, a little behind the
Hmm.
scenes. Two of my kids are professional videographers, so
Oh, right on.
I can use or slash abuse them
Yeah, yeah.
professionally.
Yeah, man. It's dangerous when anybody around you lets it out of the bag that they know how to use a camera or
Yeah,
hold a boom or you're like, hey, come here, I want to talk to you.
yeah, exactly. So, so yeah, I can turn a yes into a long answer by asking a second question easily. Let me ask you.
And you can tell I think a lot about this stuff, man. This is my life. Once I made that
Sure.
commitment at the age of 40, I don't do things halfway. I dive in. I'm like a pit bull on a tennis shoe. Once I get a hold of that thing, you're not going to get it out of my mouth. And so this is me for the rest of my life. This is where I'm going, and this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way to do it. Why don't you talk about some of your favorite types of films
Mhm.
and why, and then give me some of the examples of some of your
Sure,
favorite films in general.
sure. So I grew up reading comic books. And so I grew up with like a great sense of like justice and things like that.
Yeah,
But as far as film goes, I think what that did is it introduced me into this idea of morality
yeah,
as a kid, hyper sense of morality. And so as an adult, the films that I really like, and this probably will not be a surprise, there's people out there right now that are saying it before I'm saying it, that it's, Tarantino, man, like crime movies. I really, really like crime stories
yeah,
because I believe that crime stories are first of all always fun to watch because you're instantly putting things into jeopardy. Life and well-being is immediately in jeopardy just by the genre itself.
hmm
But I think that also crime stories provide the storyteller an amazing opportunity to be very revealing about human nature. We don't commit crimes for no reason in general.
yeah,
And even if you want to say that we do, like you're looking at a psychopath or something like that, then there's still a reason. There's still societal or social. There's some kind of foundation that you can look at. There's something you can walk away with.
yeah,
And I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in the fact that stories are meant to entertain, clearly, but I'm also a firm believer as an audience member and as a storyteller that stories are meant to enlighten. That we use the facade, the front of the story. All good storytellers should do this, or I believe they do. Again, this goes back to doing literature analysis at
yeah,
University of Kentucky. But you see what's on the surface, and then as you dig beneath it, you generally see some kind of morality play involved. And
mhm,
that's what interests me. So things like Reservoir Dogs, all the way through that, it's just an examination of morality, you know? Look at Pulp Fiction, and it's the same thing. It's all the way through it. It's an examination of morality. Do drugs, don't do drugs. Kill somebody, don't kill somebody. Help hide the body, don't help hide the body. Or help clean up
yeah,
the mess, don't help clean up the mess.
yeah,
So it's just a lot about human nature, and that really appeals to me. Whereas, and again, I'll get slapped down for this because there's people that are automatically going to disagree with this, and they may again already see where I'm going.
yeah,
But like things like rom-coms in general don't appeal to me as much because I feel like they're more pre-scripted. That yeah, it is. If it's a good storyteller involved, it is going to be revealing something about human nature. And I guess you could say that a lot of crime is pre-scripted as well. But the way that most rom-coms are delivered in the world we live in, there's something that is a little too prepackaged about it up front. By the way, I have an idea for a rom-com. Just like with my slasher idea, I'm going to spring this on the world at some point, but I don't know if the world is actually ready for a rom-com for me. So, but we'll see.
Yeah,
But does that make sense?
sure does. Yeah,
That
definitely.
even ties over into like my interest early, like as I was transitioning away from, like I still am a big comics guy. I actually write and produce my own comics as well, related to these projects. But as I was really like a comics kid and started becoming a movie kid, a movie teen, my I went from this morality play of superheroes into watching like a lot of horror and slasher films and things in my teens. And I still think it was pressing that morality button. What my parents were very afraid of, that these movies were going to desensitize me to violence. It kind of almost did the opposite. It did kind of desensitize me, but in the other way, it made me think I don't need to watch this. There's plenty of horror in the world around me,
Yeah.
and if I do watch it, I want to be able to walk away with something, you know,
Hmm.
and not to be too full of myself. But that was the goal when I wrote Spread, was that I wanted to bring a slasher movie out there that was fun to watch on the surface, but that if that an audience could watch it and they could walk out of it arguing, at least discussing, but potentially even arguing with each other.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, thanks for that's a great answer about that. But let's let that lead right into Spread. Um, Spread is the formal title is Spread Pigs to
Pigs to slaughter.
Slaughter, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Spread, pigs to slaughter.
Yeah. Now that comes out, you're kind of previewing it end of October, right? And
Yeah, man. This is like my entire life right now. You can't see the smile on my face. It's crazy because the theatrical premiere, the world premiere, my first theatrical premiere is October 30th at 7 p.m. at the Regal NoHo. And my mind is blown, man. Like right now, we're selling tickets, and there's people buying tickets, like
yeah,
strangers
right. Yeah,
buying
that's so
tickets to
cool.
come see this thing. And we're going to be wearing pig masks, and there's a red carpet. It's going to be a big thing. We're doing a Q and A after as well. But
Very cool.
I'm unbelievably excited.
Good for you, and good luck with that.
Thank you, man.
So
Thank you. I
because of
really,
that, first of all, you sent me the movie so I could watch
yeah,
it
yeah,
beforehand, and I
right.
loved it.
Oh,
And
did you? I was gonna say, I
yeah,
hope so, man. That was my biggest worry. I thought, okay, am I walking into an ambush
yeah,
here? Is he gonna be
yeah.
like, okay, now listen here?
No, it was I, I'm not going to give much away. I
Okay,
don't give anything away,
okay,
but I really enjoyed it. We'll talk generality. So when I ask you questions, if there's something that you'd rather not talk about,
sure. No, please go ahead, man.
yeah,
I'm
but
pretty much an open book, but if I say, oh, that's a spoiler or whatever, then we'll
yeah,
deal
I
with it.
tried not to ask spoiling type questions.
Okay.
Uh, so for the start, could you give an overview from
Mhm.
the overview that you want to give?
Yeah.
And let's see here. What do you have to do between now and October 30th to be ready?
Wow. So I'm selling the tickets on Eventbrite, and there's people can go to spreadthemovie.com. That's one of the things I'm really proud of is with that title, I was able to nab the Instagram, the URL, and everything. So we have spreadthemovie.com. We are at Spread the Movie on Instagram. It's like Spread the Movie everywhere. So right now it's a matter of a lot of promotion. The cast has all gotten their tickets. They've all started getting people around them to get tickets. Strangers are buying tickets. I'm creating advertisements. I'm right now, Ed, creating a brand new trailer. And if you like, when I get it done, before I make it public, I'll send it to you just to
That'd be
kind of
great.
let me know what you think, you know?
Sure. Yeah, of
Knowing because you've seen the movie, you can let me know a little bit of what you think as an
course.
insider at this point. So I'm creating the new trailer. You saw that I do a newscast, and a podcast and a newsletter as well. The newsletter is lethalvoice.com, and if people sign up at that, they can actually get free comics. They can get the digital sequel to my Vengeance Turns movies. They can get little short comics for other stuff. The newsletter, I constantly talk about what I'm doing, like while am in production and stuff like that. That'll be a great place to go and see some behind the scenes stuff. I've got the podcast, which right now am getting ready to finish delivering the episodes about the production of Vengeance Turns. It's going to end up, the whole thing is about 15 episodes long.
Wow.
And it took about 10 episodes of preamble to get to the production part. And now the production is the end of it. And that's what we're at in that. And that leads right up to spread as well. So I'm using the podcast, the newsletter, my Instagram, word of mouth, new friends, old friends to help spread the word, spread the movie. And and I'm really hoping that we sell out the theater, which already is looking good. But then after that, I'm going to make the movie available to just fans and things like that before I go into wide streaming, like to a distribution,
Yeah.
like and get out to, I don't know about Netflix, but maybe to definitely to Prime and Tubi and things like that. Maybe Hulu. I don't know. I don't think so. But get it out to these places. Uh, Before I do that, I'm going to make it strictly available to fans, like through our Vimeo and through my own Patreon and stuff like that. That's to help generate more direct money for us to start working on the next feature. But
Cool.
it's also just to do something that's special, for the
Yeah.
people that are actually following this and are excited about it, letting them know that this is a regular habit, that I like making things. I like that inner circle idea. I like that
Mhm.
idea that we're in this together as filmmakers, as fans, as podcasters. That it's very much a community, and I hope to build a community around spread. So I guess that's what I'm in the process of doing right now.
Yeah, that's great. I think anything you can do for fans and that circle is incredibly important. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the theatrical premiere, and I wanted to do the red carpet with a step and repeat, take pictures with fans, something that really felt special to them, and then to be there to either get nailed to the cross or to get just questions asked at the end, doing a Q&A, making myself available, saying, "Hey man, you just watched the movie and I'm not running." You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's controversial to a degree, I mean,
Mhm.
depending. And there's certain scenes that are, I hope people will really remember. Like some of those kills,
Yeah.
are stuff that I really put a lot of thought into. It's weird to say, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, I lost my track. I
No,
lost
it's
my track.
okay. It's well, let me ask you the Q&A.
Yeah,
Will fans be able to jump in on that from
yeah.
afar? Okay, so it'll
Oh
be
wow, yeah, yeah. I didn't even think about that, man. What I'll do, I will do that. I'll set up. I'll bring in. I don't know how well it'll work because we're going to be inside the theater,
yeah.
and I don't ever use my phone inside a theater. Does that tell you something about
Yeah.
my age-wise and habit-wise? I guess phones do work in there because people are fucking doing it all. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
people do
Yeah.
it all
I
the
don't care.
time. But I'll, if it's working, I'll set up a tripod
Yeah.
and I'll set my phone up with a Zoom, and I'll keep track. And if people want to dial in, I'll set something up through spreadthemovie.com where they can access it. Good
Yeah,
idea.
exactly.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. There's
Where are you, by the way? Are you located out here in California? Are you Midwest?
no, I wish. I used to live out there in college. I grew up in Chicago. I
Okay.
went to junior college in Fullerton.
Okay.
Then I went to San Diego State,
Oh, right on.
and there was a recession 91.
Yeah.
And I was then engaged to
Yeah.
my future wife at the time. And so she moved out there, and we couldn't find jobs doing anything. I mean, it was just horrible. And
Yeah.
we were having like gas station cheese and rice every dinner. It was
Amen.
terrible. And so she's like,
Amen.
"I'm going home." So she flew home,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I drove her to the airport. And when I got back, I was a waiter at a Mission Bay, like a hotel, a
Yeah.
bar, right as part of SeaWorld. And so I was late getting back from the airport, and I got fired. So I just remember that day, and it was just as bad as it. So I'm like, I'm going back too. And if I had gone up to Fullerton and gone back to the family that I lived with, I would still be out there. But I
All
moved
right.
home, and I'm like, I just showed up at my mom's house, and I said, "Hey, I'm 6 months. I'm going back out there," and that was 91. So here I am. So,
And I taught at State, man. I taught at San Diego State for about 2 years.
oh, nice.
Yeah, and again, I grew up in Kentucky. I was born in Louisville and grew up in Elizabethtown, E-Town, Kentucky. And one of the things that is just still under my skin is one day out here in California, I'm writing a movie called E-Town. I'm literally in the middle of writing it.
Yeah.
And I'm checking on something back then called Ain't It Cool News that a lot of people would look at. And I pulled up Ain't It Cool News and it said Cameron Crowe makes a movie called Elizabethtown. And I thought, you have to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And I clicked on it and it was about my hometown. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
everywhere on earth, how did Cameron Crowe pick my hometown and
Yeah.
ruin me writing this movie? But I've still got it in my back pocket. I'm actually thinking about doing it as a web series at some point. Like again, crime intensive web
Right,
series.
right. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I taught at State, man. And and now it's just been I was thinking about this the other day, and I've talked about it on my podcast. Is like when you talk about the decisions and stuff that you've made, and like getting married and things like that. I had a dog for a long time, and he died back around the time that I made the decision to do this.
Yeah.
And since then, I've wanted another dog so bad, and I've lost so many girlfriends along the way because people say they want to be involved with you when you're attracted to them on the surface,
Hmm.
as an actor and a filmmaker and stuff, but your lifestyle gets old to them really quickly. And so it's really hard for me to maintain a relationship. And with having such an unstable life for a while, as I was getting everything together to build this business, I couldn't even really dream of getting a dog. But one of my big hopes right now is that as things stabilize after Spread, and I've got another film already done called Succubus Next Door
Right.
coming out next summer, uh, I'm hoping to get a dog. So like that's like the
Good.
little things, man, in life are what make you happy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I hope you get that.
I'm sorry. You said you had some questions too. I kind of derailed everything.
No, it's okay. I think that's the thing. I give you two or three questions, and that's my fault. Give the overview of the film.
Okay. The overview of the film is for me, it's like thematically, it's a little bit about post-COVID isolation and radicalization and the use of the internet for radicalization and things like that. But the movie itself, if I were just to describe it in a like, boop, it's The Big Chill meets Scream.
Yeah, that's good.
Does that make sense to you having
It
seen it?
does. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a group of friends of 20 somethings who get together, some more antagonistically than others, like with Derek,
Hmm.
but a group of friends get together following the lockdown, and it's I never established a timeline. It's just up to the viewer to figure it out. But it's directly post COVID, if there is a
Yeah.
post COVID. Are we still, you know?
Yeah.
But with the when the lockdown stopped, essentially, these friends get together and decide to go out to a cabin or to a house out in the desert and get together for the first time in like 2 years after not having seen each other. And what they don't know is that a few of them have been radicalized during this time where they've been alone and and doing 2 years of solo who knows what, just
Right.
locked down with COVID. Some of these people have changed radically, literally radically. And the the hook to the movie is that you don't really know what's going on. Is that yes, up front, guys, I'm gonna let everybody know it's inspired by Scream, so there are more than one killer. But I'm not gonna say more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, because the thing is because that's really what the plot does. Is kind of it sets you up for like, how are these connections?
Hmm.
What the hell is going on here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And there's a whole part of it that has to deal with the radicalization, the co-opting of memes.
Right.
The whole thing with that, what's he called, Pepe Frog?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, that college guy. I don't think he was right wing at all. I think he was rather a just a centrist, just a kid
I think so.
who made that Pepe Frog cartoon while he was in college, and then he gets hijacked by like fringe political elements. And man, I'm telling you, as a creator, that would break my heart if someone were to steal my creation and then pervert it to
Yeah.
corrupt it in front of me. And so I wanted to address that. And also the thing with like Calvin and Hobbes,
Mhm.
you know, that like Bill Watterson got really just kind of over it by the time that he saw like the Calvin and Hobbes stickers with him peeing on shit. I'm sorry if I keep cussing, man. I'm sorry for that.
No, I don't care.
Where he's peeing on stuff and all this, and it was one of the things that made Watterson be over with, you know, the whole thing. Oh, and by the way, did you get the thing with Lofty Daughter? We
With
created this character named Jeffrey Lofty Daughter,
oh yeah.
and he's the creator of Hamson.
Yeah.
The word Lofty Daughter in Icelandic, which I don't know how I chose Icelandic, is air daughter. And I chose that because of Bill Watterson.
Yeah. I had a card Hampson, so yeah, it was going to bring that up. Yeah.
And there's a Hamson comic coming out too. We just finished it.
Nice. Nice. Um, Tell me about the use of your own social app in this.
Yeah.
It was what I wrote down was Procrasta. It was kind of
Yeah.
cool. You had people following you were
Yeah.
procrastinators, or you're procrastinating with these people. That was kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So we called it, we didn't, like, I didn't even really know, like, where the line was going to be as far as, like, how much trouble we could get in with somebody like Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And I
Hmm.
thought it would actually be a hell of a lot more fun, actually, if we just created our own. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so we created something called Procrastagram.
Yeah.
And if you go to procrastagram.com right now, actually, it takes you to my Patreon.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, and I call my people there. It's like it says, you know, hey, come procrastinate with me.
I'm gonna do that
And
right now real quick while you're talking.
sure, and so we also like you have to catch. It's really quick, but like instead at the beginning of the movie, the one of the characters says she was trying to go she was trying to make a face blast call instead of Facebook. It was called or instead of like a FaceTime call.
When
It
they're
was a
in the
face
cars?
blast. When Emily at the beginning is getting out of her car and
Oh,
she
yeah.
accidentally goes live,
Right.
she thinks she's making a call, FaceTime, but we call it face blast. And so there's little things like that, you know, all the way through the movie. But
Yeah.
yeah, Procrastagram was a big kick for me. So I
Yeah.
invented the name, I invented the interface. You know, we actually show
Yeah.
the interface real quickly and stuff on there.
Right. I thought it
And
was cool. Yeah,
yeah,
that
and
was pretty
again, it
fun.
becomes a part of the movie. It like Procrastagram becomes like a kind of a
Hmm.
character in the movie to a
Yeah,
certain degree.
definitely. And
Yeah.
and by creating your own, you have free reign to do anything you
Yes.
want, you know?
Yes. Zero liability. Just
Yeah.
free reign to go wild with it. And so for us, like all social media, you know, for us, everything that you can imagine from WhatsApp to whatever people use on social media, all of it gets like it is Procrastagram, you know?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now I know you had at least one cast member from previous film, I think one from Vengeance, but maybe more. And
Yeah.
how many crew
So,
members had
so,
worked in your
so Stacy Marie Turner is a habit for me now.
okay.
Okay. I met her during the casting for Vengeance Turns, and we're very like socially aligned and stuff. We're both poor as church mice, but we love doing everything we can to help others. You know,
Right.
it's like if we have a dime, we'll give away 9 cents to anybody around us that actually needs it worse than us.
Yeah.
And so we hit on a personal level, but she's also a good actor and brings a lot of energy
Mhm.
like to the part and to the set itself. She's a great person to have. If you ever work on a set, you know you need somebody who can keep people alive and keep them happy, and she is that person. She's a little energy ball, a little sun glowing around the set. So she's been in every single thing I've ever done. Vengeance Turns, Spread, Succubus Next Door, and then we recently did a vertical series called Karma Mechanic, and she was in that as well.
Wow.
David Ruano has been my roommate, my best friend, and been a member of almost every cast. The only thing he was not on was Succubus Next Door, and that's because he and his wife were in the process of getting married and some other things at
Mhm.
that time. Um, but David has been on almost everything. Rob Banks, the first thing he did, he was Lofty Daughter
Mhm.
on Spread.
Yeah.
And then he stars in Succubus Next Door and stars in Karma Mechanic as well.
Cool.
So, like a lot of directors, once I do find people I like, I do like to kind of have that little the well that I can keep going back to.
Sure. And it's the same with your crew?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, like when David could not shoot spread, David Ruano was the DP, the cameraman, the cinematographer on Vengeance Turns, Volume 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But when he could not do spread, I put an ad out and started looking at different people, and I found Jessica Gallant.
Yeah.
And man, she was a great find. Uh, and once we worked with her on spread, here's the thing, I'll be really honest. Like, I think it must be, excuse me, it must be one of the ingredients of a good relationship because she and I never saw eye to eye on everything throughout the shoot. We would butt heads occasionally, but never in a way that we would, like, fly apart or anything. It would just
Right.
be where we would be challenging each other, where I would be story motivated, she would be shot motivated, and at the end of the day, I had to win because I was the director, you know. But we established a rhythm on spread that we both really liked. And so the first thing I did when I went to shoot Succubus Next Door last year was call Jessica.
Uh,
And she, like, before she was even officially on the project, she was texting me and emailing me ideas. Like, she had just watched that movie, Skinamarink,
mhm.
that had come out and told me to watch it. I watched it. I was not a huge fan of it, but I got it, and I got what she was saying too.
Yeah.
And so we did bring little elements of that, and we even called it Skinamarink during the shoot for Succubus Next Door, where we would put the camera onto something for a different reason than normal, you
Yeah.
know, and let people come into the shot or whatever. But Jessica Gallant has been really important to me. There's a few people that I've come into that I want to keep using, but I have not yet. Where I'm really wanting to build a deeper bench is on post production
Okay.
because I never expected to be doing editing and sound design and all this stuff, and yet I am. And
Yeah.
I think it affects the quality, and I think it also affects it makes a much longer process when I have to do everything.
Okay. If just since we're talking about if you had to rank the things that you do in film, like
Yeah,
acting, writing,
yeah.
I don't know, writing and directing kind of go together, but they don't have to.
Yeah, I would say it's weird. It's they're
Yeah.
different. They're different hats because
Is
my writer self fights with my director self, and vice versa while I'm on
yeah.
set sometimes. But I would say honestly that while I really love acting, that I would say that writing is first, just because it's been my instinct since I was a child. I literally wrote my first complete story with a good beginning, middle, and end when I was 7 years old in second
Yeah.
grade. It's a story that my friends still today, when they hear me tell the story, they're like, "You should write another version and go film that." It's called Civil War Soldiers versus the Giant Tarantula, if that gives you watching those old monster movies.
Yeah.
But it would be writer first. The way you said it, I get it. That writer and director go hand in hand. I'll say that to a certain degree, for me, the way that I have gone and the way I've developed into the person I've become, for me, the three almost are one: writing, acting, and directing. Because I'm always thinking
Yeah.
with all three in mind. When I became an actor, it was because I took an acting class really with the idea of becoming better in writing for actors and in directing them. I thought that I could just become better at it, but I fell in love with it. I ended up going to Berg, B-E-R-G, Berg
Yeah.
Studios out here. It's a very legitimate, good school, and still do occasionally. I believe everybody should. And if you're an actor, you're a liar if you don't go to acting, if you don't have class or a mentor. Um, but acting is very motivational to me. When I write things, I never thought that I would, but when I write things now, I just now have learned that I'm going to be in it. And so I always have some character somewhere along the way, and they're never the main character. The movies have never been about me yet,
Right.
but there's always a pretty significant character, uh, or two or three,
Yeah.
and spread that.
Yeah. It's nice to fill fill those little voids with something you know you want to do that's also fun, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Spread with the smashed fruit guy,
Mhm.
that role was supposed to go to a different actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wrote this. I'm not going to say his name, but I wrote it for a friend of mine who was in Vengeance Turns. And I specifically wrote it for this friend.
Yeah.
And when I wrote it for him and he read it, he just kept really having problems with it and like just was not happy with the overall thing.
You're right.
And believe it or not, at the end of the day, my line in the sand, this shows how crazy I am, was that he insisted that we change the name of the character, that we give the character a name. He must have a name, like Bill Johnson or something like that. He could not just be Smashed Fruit Guy. And I
Right.
said, no, dude, that's who he is.
Yeah.
He's not Bill. He's not Tim. He's Smashed Fruit Guy.
Yeah.
And if you ever see the movie out there, guys, you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There is no other way to describe that guy. And once I knew that that was going to be, that I was getting pushback on that, you've seen the movie. So
Yeah.
to deliver that performance, it was going to be impossible to get that out of somebody if they were already pushing back on the name.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And that's exactly it was character. It wasn't a character with a name that had personality beyond who it already was, you know.
He
So
was essentially, I wrote Smashed Fruit Guy when I went back and I rewatched like 50 different horror movies while we were writing Spread just to do my own research because I am truly a nerd.
Mhm.
And one of the little elements that I picked up, especially from the Friday the 13th movies, was that you always have this harbinger,
Mhm.
somebody who's there saying early in the movie, hey, you're going to die up there,
Yeah.
you know? And I was like, we got to get that guy in this movie. But
Right.
he had to have some thematic tie. And so he ended up being the smashed fruit guy with the aluminum hat and the
Yeah.
panties for the COVID mask and all that and the rest.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like you said, he's a caricature. And when we filmed it, we were talking about Jessica Gallant earlier. When she read the script, it's so funny because she goes, I don't know about this part. And then when we filmed it, the second that we got done, she goes, okay, this is the part that people will remember. She goes, people may walk out of this movie hating this movie. She was like, but everybody will remember this scene. And I was like, you might be right.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's talk about the shoot.
Sure.
Location, how
Yeah.
long?
So
Yeah.
again, learning a lesson from Vengeance Turns, where I was a novice. I'm still a novice, but I've got now 4 features under my belt. I still feel like a novice. But when I was just doing Vengeance Turns, my first movie, I just was shooting for the stars, man. So I wrote a 135-page screenplay with many, many, many characters and many locations, and I had 40 different actors in Vengeance
Wow.
Turns. My very first time of
Right.
directing, and I had 5 different locations that we had to go to. And all that was during COVID, by the way. But I learned a big lesson from that, and that was scale down, strip it down, you know? And so for Spread, the bulk of it takes place at one location. Now, at that location, we did break it into many sets, as you saw.
Sure.
But we filmed one little piece at our house in Gardena because we like to do that. We really like to squeeze our resources, man.
Of
So
course.
we filmed the beginning scene with Emily at our house in Gardena. Then we filmed the bulk of the movie out in Apple Valley. Uh, and then the little pieces, some little pieces were filmed at our house as well. But the bulk of it was filmed all out at a house out in Apple Valley. The entire cast and crew lived there
Uh,
for 8 days.
wow.
One or two people couldn't quite take it, Jessica being one of them, and would drive back and forth from LA to Apple Valley. And that's a big drive if you don't
Yeah.
know. And like a couple of nights, we had a room set up, the best room set up just for Jessica.
Yeah.
But a couple of nights, it was just too much with all these 20 somethings there.
Mhm.
And all the energy and the the hormones in the place. And she would be like, I'm worried about my cats. I'm gonna go back to LA. And we were like, okay, Jessica, we'll see you in the morning. And
Yeah.
it never failed. She'd be on time the next morning. But pretty much we successfully lived together for 8 days. I will say that there were tense moments, and we all the way through it said we wished that we had cameras mounted everywhere, like Big Brother.
Yeah.
so that we could have just had a whole other thing to give people out of this because there was so much drama and just shit, just between
Sure.
all of us. But um, but yeah, all out in Apple Valley, most of it inside the house, some of it outside, some of it in a little shop outside the house.
Hmm.
And we really got fantastically lucky with the weather and with the sky and stuff like that. We ended up having a full or partially full moon on the nights where we were shooting some outside stuff. So we got some beautiful exterior shots. And then for some of that, even we had a little cloud cover. And it's the kind of stuff that people pay CGI artists to
Right.
create, you know. And here we are just lucking into it, you know. And so we really squeezed, like I said, we squeezed that every ounce of that location for everything that we could.
That's great. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, and I imagine staying there, their stuff, like their own personal stuff, is just
We're,
background stuff in the movie. But then when you're
we're
shooting,
moving it around.
yeah, you're like,
We had to move everything around. It was like a constant thing. We're like, okay, guys, we're gonna be setting up while we're doing this shot. Would you guys go in
yeah,
and clear out the side of the living room that has blah 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 and
yeah,
get all that out, or would you go upstairs and clear out that stuff and so we can get the shots up there? And so it really was a well-oiled machine where I want to put a big thank you out to all of the crew and the cast on Spread because literally everybody there wore many hats. And while we were doing scenes, people were constantly running around and doing other things. You know, every single member of our cast was also a member of the crew,
yeah,
and they never fought it, which is the beautiful thing. They knew it coming in,
yeah,
but no one ever fought it. In fact, people were eager and enthusiastic and excited about it. It became like this ongoing challenge. You know,
yeah.
we can do it. We can do it. You know. Did I answer your question, or did I veer off again?
No, you did. We were just talking about stuff in the background, you
Oh,
know.
the stuff in the
It's
background, yeah.
yeah. So
And so like the big problem with all of us staying together was the fact that we would have things like equipment and stuff around all the time. And there was one day when there was one desk that no one was allowed to sit on because it would always have the computer and the hard drives on it.
yeah.
And one day, one of the people, I'm not even gonna say whether it was cast or crew, but one of the people sat down on that desk and they had a drink with them. And they spilled the drink. They weren't supposed to be there, neither was the
Yeah.
drink. And as soon as they're there, they spilled the drink. And I ran in a straight line out of the building, like just freaking out, you know, while they were like,
Yeah.
while everybody else was cleaning it up. I thought that it was, you know, the apocalypse
Yeah.
that the sky was falling and I was gone, man. And they had to come out and find me and calm me down, saying that everything was, you know,
Yeah.
safe, everything was dry, and I made them promise not to, you know, not to ever even be near that area, you know, again. And the other side of it was because we were so short-staffed, I never knew what a director of IT was until I started making movies.
Mm.
And I need one badly because I ended up having to do it. So every day we would shoot, and then at the end of the night, when everybody else went to bed, I would stay up for a few hours uploading the video cards over to the computer so that I could give them back to our DP
Yeah.
to do the next day's shooting. So I generally, for about 8 days, I got about 3 or 4 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah. I'm sure.
And when I got back, I slept for 2 days straight.
Yeah, that's the lifestyle of my kids. They do music videos and festivals.
Right.
And sometimes the festival ends at midnight, sometimes their late shows at 1:30 in the morning. And guess what? You don't get to go to bed. You got to edit videos because nobody wants to see music videos from a festival 3 days later, you know,
That's right.
so they got to see it next day. So
There's an immediacy and urgency to it.
yeah,
And uh,
it's
I'll say this as being an actor and a director is most actors really have no idea. I won't say that, not enough actors show enough appreciation to crew because your crew is there before you get there, Mr. Actor,
yeah,
and they are there after you leave. You know, so on Vengeance Turns, my crew had a 20-hour day where David Ruano and his dad and brother were out there all day. Our actors were there for like 16 hours, and that was bad enough.
yeah,
But uh, but yeah, on Spread, it just and we tried to keep it as a rotating thing. And so when I made the schedule for it, knowing we were all staying together, knowing there would be some nights later than others, I really like tried to almost create it where like it was almost like 30-hour days instead of 24-hour days.
Sure.
So as I created it, like the times that we went to bed, like would move every day. And then the times that we would get up the next day would be a little bit later and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I tried to literally accommodate and build the entire shoot and the entire schedule around this, and
Yeah.
we did it.
It's not a 9 to 5 thing. So,
Yeah.
okay. So let's see, where are we? Okay. We've been talking almost an hour
Oh, wow.
and we're through one movie almost. But that's okay. So this is my last card on spread. What are your plans for the film? Aside from October 30th, getting it out there, festivals, that type of thing.
So right now, I'm holding on festivals for a minute, although we might submit after. We've already been accepted. We submitted and got accepted to one like horror or thriller festival. I can't think of off the top of my head. It's out on the social media probably. But the plan right now is I'm inviting the current distribution company that's handling Vengeance Turns. I'm inviting them to the premiere. A few other distribution companies, inviting them to the premiere as well. And just like the overall quality of the movie is a level up, I'm hoping that my deal on this movie is a level up.
Sure.
And if it's not, I have learned a lot over the past couple of years. And I've been advised by several people to actually make a stab at using what I know and going through like Film Hub
Uh-huh.
and trying to, completely self-distribute, getting back into Prime and Tubi, and where Vengeance Turns ended up landing essentially,
Yeah.
and doing it myself, but taking and keeping the lion's share of it instead of sharing it. So if we don't get a good enough of a distribution deal, then the plan is now for us to do the early bird accessibility to our fans right after through the Patreon, through Vimeo. And then while that's going on, I'll be getting everything approved through Film Hub so that it goes live into wider distribution early next year. So that it would be on things like Tubi, Prime. So no matter whether it's me or a distributor, it'll hit things like the wider distribution network early next year is what I'm pretty sure of.
Cool. Looking forward to it. I mean,
Well,
I'm
give us a succinct
I'm
answer, man.
I'm also glad yeah, that's true. I'm also glad I got to see it ahead of time.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Have you ever, just out of curiosity, have you ever had an interview like this where somebody saw it before it was out?
Not spread. You were the first, and that's why actually when you reached out the other day, I was like, yeah, let's do this because I'm just starting all this. I'm in the process right now. I haven't even sent my first ones out, but today probably will begin it where I'm sending out like notifications to podcasters, bloggers,
Sure.
and newspapers, TV and radio and stuff as well. So when I got yours, I was like, Ed, let's kick this
Cool.
off.
Well, I'll make sure we turn things around pretty quickly then. And
Thanks, man.
I'll also
And
give
I
you
will also support you. I'll put a note out on my newsletter. I'll do a specific newsletter about you and about this, and I'll also give you a mention on the next podcasts
cool.
and in social media and stuff as well. Let people
Yeah.
know that we did this.
And I'll give you this full raw video. And if
Cool.
you just, or video or audio or both, but if you want to use it for your podcast and
Right on.
just add an open, why not?
Right on, dude. Yeah,
Um,
what I may end up doing, in fact, is doing literally uh, like almost like an extra podcast to buy me a week. Sometime when I'm doing the spread
yeah,
season, like that starts in a couple months, a couple weeks, like have this as an extra special.
yeah,
So
yeah. The Spreads podcast. Yeah.
yeah, appreciate it.
Um, okay. Vengeance Turns, volumes 1 and 2.
Mhm.
Was that always a two-film process?
No.
Oh, okay. I was
No,
just
dude. Like I said, I was kind of a jackass a little bit going into it. Very headstrong. Thank God because I got the movies done.
yeah,
But also, it took me into. I was in post when I really honestly realized what swallowed and digested what we had done.
yeah,
And that was what that we had taken 20 days to film a 135-page Western with a female lead
yep.
and no names anywhere in the crew or the cast.
Mhm.
And I thought, this is not palatable to a modern audience. An indie movie, 3 hours long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This isn't my opinion, it's the opinion of the market. The market doesn't like Westerns. The market still does not favor female leads. I do. I love having strong females in my films.
Sure.
But the market still hasn't quite gotten their teeth into that yet. This one has a female lead. It has a diverse cast. It's on a super duper low budget,
Yeah.
and there's all these reasons that an audience might stand up and walk away from it if it was 15 minutes long. So to put it at 3 hours, I thought was a huge mistake. And so while I was editing it, I walked into David Ruano one day and I actually asked him, I was like, dude, I'm editing it and I'm thinking about it. And he goes, it's too long. And I was like, yeah. And I said, so I'm thinking maybe. And he was like, cut it when like, when Delicate Poison does her thing. And I was like, yeah. I said, yeah. Because that way what happens is we see her, we can still think of it in 3 acts. Because in the first movie, we watch her go from being Rebecca into Mia.
Yep.
But it's really this very frustrated, I can't quite get my hands wrapped around who I am yet. And then it lands. And then in volume 2, it's more about her getting the revenge, that she wanted. And it starts with the trial or the combat, the proving yourself in the warrior circle, goes on to being re-geared and a new outfit and all that. And then goes on to exact her revenge on everybody. And if you really watch close, what's interesting is in volume 1, she never technically kills anybody. She's killing, I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, but
Oh,
she's
I
killing
don't.
Bronson when Simon comes up and finishes it.
Yeah.
And so technically she never kills anybody in volume 1. Not true in volume 2. In volume 2, she's a maniac.
Yeah.
She gets her revenge and she's the one that's pulling the trigger or putting the claw through my face and things like that. But no, it was not intentional at all. But I think it was very much to the benefit of the movies, and I think it also does great service to where I was inspired, and that's the whole like Kill Bill thing. Volume
Right.
1, volume 2, very very honest right up front. Whereas for Tarantino, it was a modern western. For me, I said, yeah, let's do it, but like let's do that same thing, but back in the old west.
Yeah.
So it really puts the the inspirations on its sleeve.
Yeah. It was fun to watch. My mistake was that, and these are on Tubi for anybody. I
Yeah,
watched the trailer for both.
gotcha.
So I had that. And so at the end of the first one, like I was like, like she's transformed, she's trained, she's ready, and it ended. I was like I wanted more, but I knew it was coming, so I wasn't like disappointed, you know what I mean?
But
And
that's why I did what I did. With putting like those old school cliffhanger.
yeah,
Like put the questions out on the screen. I felt the exact same way as you did. I thought, okay, the audience is not going to be exactly happy here, so let's go really old school with it. Just
no.
will Mia get her revenge?
Uh,
Find out next time.
it's good movies that leave you hanging for more.
Thanks.
That's what
That was
they
my
do.
hope.
I mean, what was trying to think of what it was, the last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, he doesn't know, his best friend and his girlfriend, and it's a tough, popular scene where I think he's in a diner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It walks in. Yeah.
yeah, and for the betterment of humanity, he walks away as a
Yeah, man. It
stranger,
gives you little chills.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm getting them right now.
I am too. That's why I said it. It's because, like I said, this is what I was talking about earlier, though, when I said I don't care if it's a horror movie, a comic book movie, or whatever. As an audience member, I want it to tell me the story, but I also want it to have heart. I want it to
Mhm.
give me something about me,
Yeah,
and the idea of making human connection or sacrificing human connection,
sure.
very powerful to me.
Yeah. We talked about the writing process. Were there any parts of the movie that when you wrote it, then you're like, oh, I gotta cut these because I wrote like you said,
Yeah.
you wrote too much maybe and you wouldn't be
The
able to afford it.
the big kill scene,
Yeah.
the you know what I'm talking about, like when Eileen and Antoine are in the garage,
Hmm.
and that one I was so proud of it. For me, it was the centerpiece of the whole movie. When I wrote it, it's what made me
Yeah.
excited about it and about filming it and everything. But like you just said, it was also the one that I was like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Number one, I don't even want to say it because audiences, they need to experience it
Yeah.
with, without a spoiler. But how do you do that, number one, and keep the rating
Exactly.
you know? And number two, how do you do that and make it where it's actually fun to watch, and not just horrific?
Right. Yeah. You don't want to lose them. Yeah.
No, I don't want to do torture porn, man. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
And the way that we ended up doing it, I believe, brings the pain, but does it in a way that is watchable.
Yeah. Can you talk about some of the things that were, I don't know, a little outwardly, like you had hallucinations and flashbacks, like adding those elements to filmmaking. What was that like,
Yeah.
and any challenges doing that?
So for me, so that's something that's kind of the idea of reality versus non-reality is something that I've played with in probably all of my movies in almost all of my stories because of the idea of like I was thinking about this recently. I'm nowhere near his level of writer, but somebody I really admire is Charlie Kaufman.
Oh yeah.
And Charlie Kaufman has that idea, and David Lynch as well,
Right.
of the individual perception of reality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
do.
so it's important to me to kind of address that in movies. And like in Vengeance Turns, it happens with the potion and everything. And Spread, more like, through multiple people's opinions or the idea of spread, the way people tell the stories and
Yeah.
things like that will possibly allow, different versions or different iterations and things like that, which is also important.
Yeah. Okay. Um, the storyline was really interesting. I like that a lot. What I was wondering is, did it help you from a writing or directing standpoint at all by making it into chapters? Or is that
For,
the,
for Vengeance Turns,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, it helped me. It wasn't in the writing so much as it was when I started. The second that I started editing it, it made sense.
mhm,
And again, I'm going to be very honest, about where my inspirations come from. I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith, and I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino, and both of these guys really like to do the same thing, to bring up the chapters and stuff on the screen.
yeah,
And it makes sense to me, especially in something as long as Vengeance Turns, when you're calling it volumes, when you're referring to them as volumes, it
sure.
kind of made sense to add chapters.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny, I wrote that question, but I never connected volume with a
Yeah.
chapter. That's pretty goofy of me. Um,
Well, I mean, to me, it was almost serendipitous. It was not intended. Like I said, it all just kind of occurred when I was editing it. It fell together. As this whole decision became to split it into two and everything, the idea of chapters, it just really, like we were just saying, it hit me the same way it did you just now.
yeah. Well, Vengeance, one and two, and um, oh, what is it? Let me see here. Succubus, which we haven't talked about yet.
Succubus Next Door,
And,
yeah,
yeah, and Spread. It seems like, well, in Succubus I haven't seen, but I've seen who's in it. I mean, you have great casts.
yeah,
So
it's
how
important.
happy were you with being able to put together just the right people to make the vehicles?
So we talked some about this. If people want to check out the podcast and really hear details about Vengeance Turns on the Lethal Voice podcast, you get some real details about this. But it's so important to me because again, as an actor, since I'm on both sides of this now, it actually helped take the sting out of being turned down for roles. It makes being rejected a lot easier now because I understand now that it's not my talent necessarily that's being rejected or that I'm ugly or that or whatever it might be that runs through actors' heads when they get turned down for a role. It can be there's everything from the chemistry between the actors to that people look too similar or too different.
Yeah.
there's all these different factors that come into play, and if I'm gonna be accused of anything in my casting, it might be that I cast good-looking people, and I don't think I'm alone in that either.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that that's not necessarily that they are good looking. It's when you're going through the casting process, you're doing it on a screen, when you see their pictures and stuff, and you're thinking about them being on a screen. At
Yeah.
some point, you're going to camera test them, and so it is important that they look good on a screen. Do
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's whether it's fair or unfair to say, even if somebody is ugly, they have to be ugly in the right way.
Right. It's part of your product. I mean, you have
Right.
a vision for um, your film, your episode, your anything that you're creating.
As much as I love casting, though, I will be very, very, very just so thankful when I have a casting director, somebody that's permanently in between me and producers
Yeah.
who are between me and the cast. Because on one hand, there's a lot of things to be said that are very positive about the intimacy that develops. If you're the cast, the person who cast these actors, you wrote it, it's intimate because they're reading your words, and then you cast them, and then you're the one who's directing them, and it stays very close. But I have learned that as a director, you really it benefits you to a great degree if you can achieve some objectivity
Mhm.
between yourself and your cast, because some of the things you have to do and some of the things you have to say to them are not always kind at that moment. And it's not about being unkind, but it's you can't hold their hand if you're the director. Whereas if you're their friend, obviously you want to hold their hand.
Sure.
You know, if you're their co-star, you want to hold their hand. But if you're the director, the decisions that you make are aimed at the end product. Whether it's how the person was cast, how they act while they're there, which shots you're going to use, and things like that. It's all about that end product. And so it's actors will be greatly benefiting themselves if they don't take casting personally.
Yeah. Well, and it's not so much you trying to be good cop or bad cop. It's just having that space between, right?
That's right. A
Yeah.
buffer, yeah, that buffer is so important, and I've not really had it to a great degree yet. I've always been very accessible, and I hate
Yeah.
sounding like that because it sounds like I'm being a I'm being negative in a way that I don't want to be. But as a director, you have to stay focused on a lot of very high level things,
Sure.
and sometimes it is not to the benefit of the film overall if people are running up to you over and over again with every small detail about what's good and bad going on at that moment.
Right. I can tell you this very briefly. My oldest son did a film for his final exam. It was his final project in film
Right.
school. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing for like they got a budget, they rented a space. I got them, I think I helped with a truck. I don't remember. But I said, what are you doing for like food, for craft services? And he's like, well, we're figuring I said, like, you can't flop on that. I said, like, they have to be happy. They have to have, I said, look, I'll bring it every day. I think it was a 3-day shoot or 2-day shoot, but I said, I'll bring coffee. I'll make sure there's stuff to put in the coffee. I'll bring cups. I'll like, just like a load off the director's, shoulders kind of thing. But okay,
The, the
let me.
first day I found out that we had vegans in Vengeance Turns, I went to the stores during COVID and I didn't know what to do about who to
Oh,
reach
yeah.
out to. And I got online, read recipes for how to make vegan wraps, went to the store, got the ingredients and made them. It was, praised
Perfect.
by the
Yeah.
girls that ate them.
Yeah. I think I had to run back out to the store for something like that at one point, but but I
You said
did.
it, man. You got to keep these people. I mean, you got to keep them happy. And things like food and water, snacks, the idea of refreshments, it's non-negotiable.
Right. It's like basic part of life. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's your basics. That's your definitely something I'm always very concerned with.
so
On your shoot.
acting, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I just wrote down a couple of things. Garden of Eden is a newer one.
yeah,
Short film. We got
yeah.
several Dark Man videos you've been in. You've been in Perry Mason. You were in oh geez, Juice World video, right?
Yeah, the Juice WRLD
Yeah.
video, honestly, is probably the biggest thing that I've been in. And it's the only thing where I've ever been recognized in public. And it was by
Uh,
a kid at the bank whose mom told him to leave me alone. And then finally asked me if I was the guy in the Juice WRLD video. And I said, yeah. And she said, okay. I didn't believe him, but he said you were. And
that's
so,
really cool. I'm gonna
yeah.
have to bring that up to my kids because I haven't seen one's out of town and the other's in Chicago
Well,
today.
I had heard of Juice before he died, uh, but never got into it. Never heard the music. Never got into it. But I really loved the song that I did the video for, and I really was happy to be a part of that particular project because of the way that he died. And then this project with his family posthumously releasing some material, and the profits from it were to go help other people who were dealing with struggles with drugs and alcohol. And I just
Sure.
thought that was amazing.
Yeah. We went out to LA on vacation. My one of my college roommates lives in Venice and then I have like I said, I went to Fullerton College, so I have like the inland group of friends that are
Yeah.
lifelong friends. And so we went out there and we'd go do a little of everything. But what I did was I reached out to a friend of mine who used to be on NYPD Blue. Her name's Andrea Thompson. And I said, we're coming out and we just want to go see a show like TV show, whatever, but I don't want to like apply for something and like not get in because they're all like you have to wear a certain
Right.
dress, whatever.
Yeah.
And she goes, I know a guy at Jimmy Kimmel. And so she got us in, I know of all times to bring this up. But we went there and Jason Bateman was there um and then I don't remember who the the musical guest was, but the next day it was Juice World.
Nice.
So my kids went back, and one thing about that show is anybody can go to the concerts because they're outdoors. You just line up
Cool.
outside a fence. So it was kind of cool for them. And then that wasn't too long before he passed away, which was good for them. It was cool that they got to see it.
It
Uh,
was, man, yeah.
so
Guy
I'm
was talented. It's tragic, tragic the way
yeah.
that he let himself die.
Okay, we're an hour 15, so I only have three cards with
No worries,
questions.
man.
Acting, I was wondering, do you prefer acting in other people's work or your own? And does it matter?
Good question. Doesn't matter. I like acting in both. They're just very different because I have a very close relationship with my director when I'm acting for myself. But it also takes away some of the objectivity. You know, no matter how objective I may try to be, it's impossible.
Mm,
So for me, it's it's more fun to
yeah,
act for someone else because of the fact that my responsibility level is so much lower.
yeah,
You know, I'm only responsible when I'm on the set, essentially, and I have to be responsible to get to set and things. And you know, for what I'm going to bring to the set. But when I'm a director and I'm acting, even when I'm acting, I'm still, as little as I like it, my brain is processing the entire shoot, you know. And so I have a lot more fun. I can enjoy it a lot more when I'm just acting. I got to do it. Rob Banks and I both ended up acting in a production that was from one of our actors in Succubus Next Door. He reached out and asked us if we would be in his movie
cool.
called a guy named A.B. Phoenix, and his movie was called The Landlord or The Landlord Returns. And oh my God, dude, it was such a different experience just to be able to sit back and drink Cokes and read comic books all day. And they're like, Bobby, we need you in about 5 minutes. I was like, I'll be there, you know,
Yeah,
like completely different.
yeah, a lot of load left off.
Yeah, yeah.
For directing and acting. Like, so I wrote down a few of the projects that we've been talking about. I was wondering if you want to talk about whatever you can say. I just wrote down karaoke noir,
Nice.
karma, and succubus.
Yeah, and be in the vertical. So it's got like more violence. It actually has a little bit of nudity and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that is only available on the Patreon.
Okay. Is there, not to give you more work in case you haven't thought of this, but would you ever do a little teaser trailer for your October 30th of Succubus before the film?
Going to. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
good.
thanks, Ed. Man,
Good.
I'm glad we talked because yeah, if anybody, if you want to show up the LA premiere of Spread Pigs to Slaughter, we're gonna have the red carpet. We're gonna have the film itself. We're gonna show an episode or two of Karma Mechanic because they're only a minute long, like most of those vertical series.
Sure.
Except we're gonna show the widescreen version, and we're also gonna show a little bit of footage from Succubus Next Door.
Cool.
And we may show a scene that I already edited. I just got to go back and work on the sound and stuff. I'll send it to you if you want. That
Yeah.
it's towards the end of the movie when they walk back into the house and the succubus is there and she cuts off this lady's head with
Uh,
one swipe of her hand, and the head goes up through the air,
yeah.
lands on the table, and the husband starts trying to put it back on the body and screaming for an ambulance. I've got a very twisted sense of humor, man.
That's all I had.
Well, thank you, Ed.
Why don't you give a reminder to people where they can support you and follow you?
Sure. So anybody that wants to just kind of get in, I just started a Patreon, and what I did was I worked on it for a few months before I really kind of wanted to offer it to the public, but it is offered now. And since the film is coming up, if you join as the top tier at like $9 a month, for $9 you can go to the premiere of Spread, which is a $60 ticket,
Right.
just like that. So the Patreon, you can support me, you can support these projects, you can see the comic book adaptation of Spread that is starting right now. Other comic books, other different comic book chapters, different podcasts, different behind the scenes stuff is all available on the Patreon, and that is really procrastogram.com, which is from Spread. Um, People can check out the podcast. It's Lethal Voice Podcast. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere. And then you can check out the Lethal Voice newsletter, and that is at lethalvoice.com. When you sign up for that, you'll get some free stuff. You get to see all kinds of junk from me, even music, stuff from the past, Wild Love Rebellion. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that's only Robert C. Smith. For the movie, it's Spread the Movie. And for the movie, Spread Pigs to Slaughter, basically it's Spread the Movie. It's spreadthemovie.com, at Spread the Movie. It's Spread the Movie everywhere. So in hashtag Spread the Movie.
Right.
So if you or anybody out there wants to help us and spread that, it's hashtag Spread the Movie.
One last thing. When I was watching Spread, music came in, and there hadn't been music for a little while. And I almost like searched it to see what it was. Like
Yeah.
you said, it was your music, but I was like, oh, I wonder, like just because I
It's
used music.
likely. There is some stuff in there that's not mine.
Yeah.
Can you tell me when it was? Was it the credits?
No, no, it was like three-quarters of the way through.
Was it when the guy and the girl are getting ready to kiss?
Yeah, yeah.
But that was something we actually got. I'm gonna highly recommend this as well. Artlist.
Okay.
Artlist.io, I think is what it's called. It's an invaluable resource for filmmakers because it's not free. You pay a fee for it, but for that small fee, you can use all of this music and all of these sound effects royalty free.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's an insane deal, and I highly recommend it to everybody out there.
Okay. Hey, well, Robert, thanks for your time. I really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Oh,
I'm,
and hey, you did bring it up. Wild Love Rebellion was my old band back in the 90s, and
yeah.
there are three songs. One More Way, Vertigo, and Hero F. I don't want to say the F word, but Hero F is the song in the credits. People can find that stuff on Spotify. It's on YouTube. There's videos out there. Wild Love Rebellion was a thing.
It sounds like Wild Stallions.
It was psychedelic hard rock. I like to say that we were Kentucky's only grunge band.
I
We're the
will.
grunge band from Kentucky that never made it.
There you go. I got it. Oh, I pulled it up. Awesome. Okay,
Thank you, man.
see
Thank
what
you, Ed. I
happens.
really enjoyed talking to you, dude.
Yeah,
And I appreciate the opportunity.
yeah, it was good talking to you too. I'll stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you, man. Peace.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too.